Welcome to the live stream. We should have audio. And I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios. Thank you for joining me as usual. We have some regulars in the house, so I want to give you a shout out right now. Let's put chat on the air. Let's see, on chat. That's the button right there. So just a reminder, I want to welcome you to the live stream. Thank you for joining me. And if you're watching this delayed, we're going to cover a couple things tonight. So thank you for watching. Obviously, these videos are available here on the channel. So thank you so much. Appreciate you guys hitting the like tonight. Also sharing these videos. And if you hadn't subscribed, I do have subscribe only chat enabled. So you will have to go ahead and subscribe, and then within a minute, I believe you can chat with us, and we'd love to hear from you. If you are new tonight, please let us know where you are from. And if anybody new comes in and starts telling us where they're from, feel free to say hi and tell them where you're from as well. So actually, early tonight, we had Freddie pop in. Freddie, let me know if you are here in the chat. He was here about 45 minutes before we went live, followed by DJ Ware saying hi to Freddie. Then Tony popped in. We have Hank in tonight, and you are welcome. So it looks like you guys got spared from the hurricane, which is great. Obviously, there is nothing more important than your life. So we are excited, Hank, that you made it. Such incredible history. And tonight's part 2 is dedicated to Hank. He asked me to cover the Select Bus on the ATEM Extreme ISO, also the SDI version that's available, and they all have this Select Bus on the top. So we're going to look at that later tonight. We have some other things that we're going to do as well. So good to have you, DJ Ware. I think I said hi to you already. David is in the house. It's good to have you, David. And I think that catches up right now, at least based on what I'm seeing in the chat. And also, whatever was happening in the chat with Aaron Parecki's plugin, he has a Chrome extension that you can display chat on the screen. You have to bring it through software like OBS, which is what I'm doing. So when I have OBS set to chat, you guys can just see a chat when I put it up on the screen like that. And then if I take that off the screen and then just switch over to my Skycam and hit the transition, then you have my Skycam, and I can take this around the screen and you can see the delay on that. So these are coming through OBS. And so then obviously if I was to change this back, turn Skycam off, turn chat back on, and hit transition, then you will have the chat as soon as I click on one, and there is one from from Tony saying hi to Hank, also hi to David. So good to have you guys here, and thank you so much for joining me. We are going to dive in tonight. So let me take chat off the air. So obviously some more people will be joining us. I usually start whatever we're going to talk about somewhere around quarter after, but we're going to get started earlier tonight because we have a lot to cover. So you can see over my shoulder right there some items. So I do have the NSB 16.8. That is a stage box for my PreSonus new mixing console. It's the 32SC by PreSonus. It's a 32-channel mixing console. It is in my garage now, as well as my speakers. And so we are going to do a live stream out there pretty soon. Might be next week. We'll just have to see. I have it all set up. I do have an invite to go out of town the following weekend. So hopefully we'll get that done. So I cleaned out the garage yesterday, got everything moved in there so I can pull my car out and hook up the cat cable to the Stagebox. And then the Stagebox, obviously, I can plug in my outputs from my speakers, my monitors. If I wanted to, I could have the wireless receiver up on the stage, or I could have the wireless receiver back and plug it right into the PreSonus 32 SC. And if you don't know what that is, let me drop it over here So there it is right on top of me. I just dropped it in where the logo is. So that is in the garage sitting on my table that I usually have back here when I'm doing something on the table. But what we're going to do tonight is we are going to unbox the rack mount kit for the 16.8, and we're going to take the handles off and put those rack mounts on. We're also going to unbox a FURMAN Power Conditioner that I purchased, and I'm not sure if that's going to go in the rack on the stage, or if that's with the Stagebox, or is that going to go in the rack, and I'll plug my 32SC into it. I have two of them, one that I unboxed last week and by Pyle, and then this one we're going to unbox this week by FURMAN. So we'll be unboxing the adapters for the rack mount, so that little stage box there with handles, you can see, I'll grab it here in a second, can be put in a rack. So the handles come off and the rack adapters go on. So we're going to do that. It's just a couple screws. So we'll do that tonight live right here on the desk. And then I also want to unbox, actually, there's a couple things back there we're going to unbox. Obviously, the kit that goes on the NSB Stagebox, the 16.8, 16 inputs, 8 outputs. And you could buy a 32 and 16, or you can buy an 8 and I think 8, or you can buy a 16 and 8. And again, the 8 stands for outputs, the 16 stands for inputs. And the cool thing about it is they are Neutrik connections, so you can use them in lieu of a direct box. If you don't know what a direct box is, a direct box just really simply converts an XLR to, or a 1/4 inch like guitar, or like an effects pedal or a keyboard. It converts that to, Stagebox would convert that to 1/4 inch to XLR, but with Neutrik connections, they have a 1/4 inch input as well as a XLR, and you don't have to have a direct box to convert those. You don't have to worry about it getting that extra hum that can happen on the stage for longer throws. So it really does shorten things up, but keep that in mind. They'd have to have a long enough cable to plug into whatever stage box you have. So you may still need to have some longer cables for the guitar players, the keyboard players with you if you're going to do that. So we're not going to talk a lot sound tonight, but I do want to put this kit together and kind of finish that. I do have some more things I have to get, but we're going to talk about those down the road. But hopefully we'll be in the garage letting you guys hear everything with the 3 monitors and show you what I've learned so far. So we'll be doing a stream from here in this room and in the garage that night. So hopefully that will happen next week. So, okay, let me just look down here. Yeah, I'm not recording. Thank you for that. DJ Ware. Let's pop that on the screen for you catching that. So I am recording now. Is that Raspberry Pi? No, I have a Raspberry Pi, but I'm not using it. I need to figure out how to change the settings in it to increase the fan. I did download Playout B, which is a HyperDeck emulator. So you have to have a Raspberry Pi, you have to have the emulator loaded into it, and then I can use it like a HyperDeck, but it was overheating, so I need to fix that. So I haven't been using it. I do have it routed into the Extreme number 2, but everything back here. So I'll go through here. Obviously, you have, I have my super source there, audio signals, obviously. This is just the chat popping up. This is my program. So this is preview program. Then I have my media player 1, media player 2. Then I have the on-air status right there. You can see it. I'm recording now. Camera 1, input 2, right there. This is coming over from my Extreme number 2. So this is called Extreme number 1. This is called Extreme number 2, and it doesn't have anything in it right now. Then I have my laptop there, my PC desktop there. So, and that's what I'm using for OBS. So this is OBS you're seeing on the screen projecting right there. Then I have HyperDeck 1, or actually HyperDeck 2, and then this is so fill, or let's see, key and fill. So, or Phil and Key, sorry. So that's what's on the screen. So hopefully that takes the mystery out of that. Okay, so we're gonna try this again. I have my lav on, so I'm gonna turn it on, turn this microphone off. Seems like we still have good audio. I'm gonna get some stuff and I'll be right back here. Let's take the keyboard. This is my Pop Keys keyboard. I love it because it's my company colors. You can see right there. Let's put it over here by the logo. So you can see it's close to the company colors, so I really like that. So we're gonna set this aside. And let me get up and go grab this stuff. Okay, we're gonna start with this power adapter and just have get this microphone out of the way, and I will use the DJI mic kit. So I just have one of them on. Here is the other transmitter, and it'll pop on when I open the case. So I'm going into input number 2 on my ATEM, so let me know if the audio is 5x5. I would appreciate it. So again, I have a FURMAN already in my studio. This is a power conditioner. You can see here on the box, and there's a light on there, kind of the overview of what you have here. This is a model number M-8x. That is right there. Hopefully that's focusing. So again, have not had it out of the box. Let's just read through the list. So you've got noise filtering to reduce that issue, spike and surge protection, 8 rear panel outlets, and an additional front panel outlet. We're gonna have it in the box here in a minute. 15 amp rating with circuit breaker, so that's something you do have to consider. And then it has a protection OK indicator, and then it has a wall wart spacing, which means that you have some space on the back as well. And I think right here it gives you kind of a drawing of the layout of the outlets close here, and then separated these 3 here. And so let's get this out of the box. It is taped. So I brought my wife's cutlery. So let's cut this. And again, I'm unboxing these live just as a way of saying thank you to you guys. I could do unboxings and build my channel, and I should be doing that. But in reality, I kind of felt like it's a way for me to reward those of you that are on live with me and those of you who watch the lives. So there's the box, and there's what we have inside. So let's fold this box back. I'm just going to unbox this way for this tonight. So you got the manual. We're going to get that out. And then here's inside the box. See the power cord there and the power conditioner. So I'm going to pull it out. And the power cord is connected. So take those off. I'm going to set this here for just a second. And so that's what's in the box. And so pretty cool box, actually. I think FURMAN does a pretty good job. I'll give you a tour around this box now that it's not heavy. So there again, it's the writing on the back. Here's the front. And obviously I showed you one side, here's the other side. And that's the box. So here's what I like to do with these. There you go. Ugh. Okay, so obviously you have these nice little ties on everything. They're big. These are heavy duty, thick ones. We're gonna save those. I like to keep those, and just gonna undo it, not hooking anything up to it tonight, but I want you guys to see it. So, as I like to do, I always like to measure the cord by length. And so, yeah, that's almost a full reach. And then taped plastic on the end. Pull the puppy out. And got a plastic covering on the front. I'm gonna pull that off. And there you go. I can plug it in just so you guys can see it light up. So I will do that. And obviously it's a single rack unit, and you got your rack mounts there. Here's the outlets on the back, and you can see you have the fuse right there, and then you have space there. So 8 on the back, that's the bottom, that's the top, and then you have a single outlet on the front. Now the other one I have has the 2 lights that pull out. So this will probably go in the rack with the snake. And I do want the 6U rack. I may go bigger, but it takes 3 slots like this to fit the new 16.8 Stagebox, and then this, so that's now 4. That I'd like to be able to put 2 wirelesses on this stage. And I haven't decided yet. I might even add an effects processor on this stage. There's some really cool ones out now for like guitar and things like that. So I've been thinking about getting into acoustic guitar again. So it'd be nice just to have something that I could plug a pedal into in the rack and be able to just have a pedal on stage and have it rack mounted. So I'll probably go with a 6U or 2 wireless microphones. I don't know yet. So let's plug it in. Over here is the easiest. Ugh. Even though I can't quite reach. So once you turn it on, the little protection light comes on, and that's it. On and off switch right there. And obviously it says FURMAN on here, switched outlet and up front. Now one of the things about these devices, and we'll get the manual out here. I'm going to set it down here for a moment. And it did have this little covering on the end of the power cord. So this is the manual. And again, trying to show you everything that's going to go in this kit. I do have a case that I'll show when we get in the garage that I bought, a soft case for the 32 SC, but that's the different models that they have, and the bottom 2 actually have the lights that pull out, and then they have the bottom one has a readout on how much voltage you're pulling. That's right there. So, and those are nice. I have the one the middle one over in my other rack, and now I have this one. I do not have this one, but I do have a monster version of this same kind of power supply, and that is actually right here next to my desk. That's got my ATEMs plugged into it, so one of the first things that I turn on when I come in the studio, if I'm doing a Zoom call or if I'm doing a live stream or recording, then I turn on the monster one. They don't make that power strip anymore, so so eventually I'll probably get one of these so I can have it in my portable rack. It's nice to see what's going on with voltage. So this is the 8X2, and it's the least expensive one right here. So I have those 2 now and don't have this one. And I'll read the features again. Let's see, they have, well, this says they have a M.8x-2, and there's a tiny 2, and I think, yeah, this is the tiny little 8-2 one. The other one's 8LX, and it looks like it has 2 retractable incandescent light fixtures on the other one, and 3-year warranty. And that's really all you get. So if you get the middle one, you get the extra little lights that pull out. And then if you get the higher end one, it's got the digital voltmeter display. So you have incoming line voltage. And then it also has the 2 lights that pull out. Other than that, those are the only differences. So you can go from the one I have to the one that has the lights that pull out, and that gives you ability. If it was above something you needed to see, then that's great. Or if you had it in a rack where you have, like, I know in some setups, people have like 4 or 5 unit above their console. So you can pull it out and then see the console. But all these consoles light up now. They're all LED. It's nothing like it used to be in the analog days. So really, I don't see a lot of needs for those lights. But the biggest thing is to condition the power, so that gets rid of any like noise in the power. So you never know where you're gonna be at and what kind of noise is in there. So it should remove the noise, and that's what I use in the studio as well. So anyway, if you have any questions about that, let me know, and I would be happy to answer those. Put the knife away. And as I'm waiting to see if you guys have any questions, I don't see any yet. Let me double check on my phone. And someone just put something in the chat, like just say hi again, so I make sure it's working. I haven't received any chat messages since Tony asked the question about the Raspberry Pi. Oh, there's Freddie. Hi, Keith and everyone. Sorry I'm late, had a meeting. Well, it's good to have you, Freddie. You were in earlier and I said hi. And so hi again. And we will forgive you for being late. Not that you need our forgiveness. So, okay. So that's unboxing the FURMAN. And so again, not just a power supply. When you get to these, you're conditioning the power, which means it should remove any kind of weird hum and artifacts. And it's kind of an important thing to do with sound. So keep that in mind. So inside your studio, if you're making a live stream in studio, I really recommend one. Again, there it is right there. You got 8 outlets on the back. And again, surge protection, as well as it's going to clean the power. So, and what they're doing is they're just doing some cool things inside this to just stop hum and those kind of fun things that happen with, especially with audio. And when you don't have really expensive preamps, like especially your ATEMs should be plugged in to something that will clean up the power, because I noticed that the power, you do get hum. If you plug an ATEM Mini or ATEM Mini Extreme, any of those devices in a regular power outlet, I've had nothing but problems with the audio. And so that's why my ATEM Extreme ISO, and when I had my ATEM Mini Pro in the studio as well, that's right, 3 of them, I use the ATEM Mini Pro in the other garage now, usually, and then I come back to my streaming bridge in the studio. But I have that monster clean power device right there, and that helped me with the audio inside my ATEMs. Again, 3.5 jacks. It's not like an ATEM Mini was designed to have super, super high quality audio. So keep that in mind when you purchase one. So, okay, so what I want to do now is we are going to, well, I wanted to say that I bought a 50-foot, basically Ethernet cable. I forget what the terminology is. I think last week or the week before, TVJ was here and he told us what it's called. But anyway, it's the CAT cable. I bought a 50-footer. I need to buy a 100-foot. I'm also thinking about getting to 30. And then I also bought this adapter. So we're going to open it up. And this is so you can put 2 of those cables together. So it's like a junction box. And so I bought that. It's called the SE8FF-X adapter. It's by Seatronic, Seetronic. I will see if I can find an Amazon link for this and put it in the notes as well. A lot of the items are in the notes, so if you do use one of those Amazon associate links, I appreciate it because we do get some support back from Amazon as a Amazon affiliate / associate, and so you pay the same, but we get some help, and it's things like this that literally could be purchased by you guys using those links, or at least offset something more expensive. And I always use those coupons when I get them on new gear. In fact, I used one on some of the things for the mobile sound kit. So, okay, let's do this. Chat on the air, and let's say hi to Doug. It's good to have you joining us. We are diving in. We've already opened the FURMAN clean power supply / conditioner. And now we're going to roll over into putting the kit on the PreSonus NSB 16.8. It's the Stagebox. I might as well get it out again. We've unboxed this. Again, if you haven't watched like the last 3 weeks, it was really focused on this live sound kit that I've been putting together. I think I'm into it almost $8,000 now. And still haven't figured out what subs that I want to get. I went ahead and bought the 15-inch speakers, and they have some 12s that I liked even better, Yamahas, but they're quite a bit more expensive. You go from like $800 all the way up to $1,200 or so. And so I did go with the 15s. So I got to find a couple subs to go with those, and don't really have the budget right now, but looking at different options. But this is the Stage Snake, so you have 16 in and 8 outputs. And again, this just has a power switch and a power input. That power cord is in the garage. And then you have an in and an out, so you can daisy chain these, or you can buy a switch by PreSonus, and then have them all go from your board to a switch, and then you can go out from the switch to a bunch of devices. Just like making an internet at home, buying a switch for your home network. And the advantage of that, if this failed and lost power, then everything else down the chain would most likely lose this connection. But if they were all individually going to a switch and then one of these failed, you still have all the other ones live. I don't know why I would ever need more than 2 of these, but you can also you can buy a rack mount PreSonus board, and you could use that to mix the monitors on the stage separately. So you could have someone up there doing a monitor mix, and you could be doing the house. Or you could get an 8 to go behind the drums, and then you could hook all the drum mics either into that, or you can go over to this. It just depends on how many mics you need. 16 is enough for me, but it's really the convenience of having the 8 where you want them. And then obviously the outputs matter as well, because I would be sending audio to all of the speakers and monitors, as well as in-ears. That would all have to come through here. And if they were stereo in-ears, that takes 2. So you could only do 4 sets of in-ears, and then I would not have any more outputs to power my main speakers or whatever. If you wanted to do a separate mix for your subs, then you can go through your subs and do, and that's typically what you're going to do with subs. Go to your subs first. You can go to 1 sub or 2 subs. You can go in a sub stereo or go into it and then output to the 2 main speakers right and left. Or some people do their subs completely separate. So they EQ out all the frequencies they don't want in their subs, and they send the main mix to the subs as well. And then they can get a little bit more bass out of their main speakers. So again, we're going to take these handles off, and we are going to put on this new kit. So let's just go ahead and get into the kit. This is the NSB 16.8 rack ear kit. And you can see it's got instructions for installing right on top of it. So it basically tells you take the handles off, and then you got to put the connectors for the Cat 6, because you're going to actually extend those to the rack ears. And I'll show you that in a minute. And then you have to And once those are popped in, then you have to use the little cat cables to extend them. So, and so that's all it's there. It says PreSonus on that side of the box, has that on it, nothing on the edges, just a very basic box. And I ordered this from B&H. Inside, you have these two pieces, and they are wrapped up. We'll get those out here in a second. And then you have the little Allen wrench that you're going to need because special screws in two of the spots. Then you have some screws it comes with. Here are the two short cables. They're not super high quality, but it's such a short run, should not be any issues. And then you have the two adapters. We'll get those out of the bag. And that's it. That's all that's in the box. So we'll set those down. And I do have a super source that we can use so you can see what I'm doing here. So we'll throw that down, get a sip of water. See if anybody else has joined us. I think the last person that popped in is Doug. So again, welcome. So one thing at a time, being that we're unboxing again, this is the kit for the 16.8. It's specific to that snake. I don't know what's different other than this is going to be ears for a 3 U unit. And if you get the 8.8, it doesn't need the same height. It's a 2U unit. So obviously the ears would be smaller. And then there is a 32. And I don't know if the 32 is different. So this one has the inserts for these two little devices. And I'll get one of those out here in a second. And then this one doesn't. It's got a piece of foam separating them. So we're going to pull that foam out and fly it back there. And so there you have those two units. So again, it's going to go like this. I think I haven't decided yet, and I'll look at the instructions on the box. But so we have to do some work right here. And I'm going to clean up the desk a little bit, and then we'll grab one of these out. And this is called a RJX8FD5T. It's by Entertainment at Amphenol. So I don't know who that is, but I'm going to tear into that and get that connector out. And obviously there's two of these. And they're like exposed panels and everything. I'm not sure I'm super excited about that aspect of having it rack mounted, but it would be in a rack mounted device. So those will be going in here. So screws are already in them. So these little screws are going to need to come out, and then they're going to go in there, and we'll do that in a second. Get ourselves ready here. Number 2. Got these ready. This is going to go in the trash. And then you have 4 little screws. Not sure where these go yet, but get those out and ready. And then I am going to pull out this little Allen wrench because I know I need that. I should get one of these. I don't have one of these. I'm probably going to keep this so I don't lose this little device. But this has got like the little nub on the end. And that's going to be used to pull out a couple screws. Okay, so let's do this. Let me go back to my mic on my lapel. So you should be on my lapel mic now. We're going to push this out of our way. And I think, let's make sure my camera's ready to go. Got to send my 5D Mark IV back in to get the internal battery replaced. It's been timing out for some reason, but they're both live now. And so let's see if we can go like this. We're gonna bring this all the way back. And let's try this here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's what I want. Okay, so you should have audio and you should be able to see my desk, and it does look a little bit overexposed there. So let's see if we can adjust that. Take it down a couple notches. Okay, so let's take a look at this first. So I'm going to set this down. And we'll get the directions out here. Let's see if I can turn this one light down a bit. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Looks like we're pretty focused here. And the box says that these go in like that. No pressure building live. That plate comes off. One down. You're gonna wait to see the finished product. Looks like Joe is in the house. It's getting the holes lined up, which was a royal pain because I can't see through metal. So there you go. Isn't that sweet? I really don't know why they don't just put this together, right? But you have A and B, and so that's together. So the two pieces are ready. Now, gonna take this puppy apart. Oh. Okay. So we've got to pull out. Man, that's too dark. Oh. Got to pull out these screws right here, and then there's screws under here. And that's what I need a special wrench for. off. Okay, one down. Okay, that's what it looks like with it off. It's off now, so now we got to put got the new screws ready to go right here. These we're gonna set aside, don't want to lose them. Now here's our instructions. So obviously I have to put the little extensions on right there. And those are going to go right here. So you have A, B, and you have A, B. So let's see, how am I doing this? Like this. Okay, I figured it out. So this is going to go on there like that. So let's get the screws out. Four screws. And these screws need our little adapter. There you go. It's one side, the hard side. And now we got the other side to do. And that's pretty cut and dried. Hard part's done. handy dandy tool. One screw left. When in doubt, change positions. Pretty PreSonus on the side and kind of a shadow print. See that? It's cool. So, back. Connectors. Let's get you real close to those. There's the connectors going through. 2 screws in each side of those. And the plate came off. And then it's 2 short little Cat 6 cables, A and B. And then 2 screws that hold this thing in place. Then there's the other side. And my hands are sweating, it's getting hot in here. And let's set that down. So there's the back. And here is the front, ready to rack mount. So you got one, it's upside down, so let's turn it around. Ugh. Now one thing that I immediately do not like about this is I don't want connections in the front of my rack typically. I mean, I guess you're connecting everything else here, so that makes sense. But I would rather have cables going in the back of a rack, but that's just me. The power cord is going to be coming out the back of the rack. But I guess for quick switching and a quick adaptation, so I can go plug in from the board in A and come out B, because B would be to link out to another place. But there you go. Together. Went together pretty simply. Again, there is the instructions that you just can't really see because of the glare. Weird. Is it easier there? Yeah, it's a little easier in that picture right there. And if I go like this, then that's a better look at that. Let's put the logo on. Chat off the air, great. So there's the box instructions, and I just followed that, looked at it ahead of time before we got going. Let's put these lights back to normal. Cool. Okay, so that is part 1 tonight. Let's get back into multi-view behind me. That's so I can see what's on the screen on my big monitor, but now we're back to multi-view. So always cool to have things to be able to be racked. That way it can be in a case and I can set it down. I'm going to get, oh, that's loose. Didn't get that tight. You do have some screw holes here that are exposed now. I noticed, but it is what it is. So I'm going to set that down. If you have any other questions about that, again, you got the Neutrik connections. All 16 have the Neutrik connections, and then obviously these are XLR to go to speakers or whatever else you're sending the signal to. And it could be another board if you wanted to, but I would just go through the network if I was trying to have 2 boards. I can assign the preamps to whatever board I want. So if I had more than one PreSonus mixing console, I could even have the snake being in another room And so if I want to do any mixing in the room, I could then assign the preamps to that room, have a board in one room, have another board in a control room. So lots of things that you can do. It's their proprietary network, but it sounds to me, what I read, it's pretty cool. So about $1,000 item, about $100. These are on sale right now for $89, but I paid $100 for this kit to make it rack mountable. And you got to put the whole thing together as you saw. So set that down. Cool. Well, we have plenty of time to do part 2 tonight, but let's just get caught up in the chat. Clear that. Good to have you, TVJ. Thanks for joining us. I don't have any other chores tonight. I did go to the dump earlier today, Joe. I did not videotape that, but I do have photographs if you want me to share. Why I took photographs today at the dump probably was so I'd have the perfect response tonight to you giving me a hard time. So, and if you do want to see a dump picture, I will show it to you. It's right here. Just so you know I'm not blowing smoke. Let's go to my photographs. And get through the ones I took in the studio today to get ready. There I am at the gate of the dump. There I am backing up to where I have to throw the stuff in a big gigantic garbage can basically. And that's shots of the garbage in the garbage can. So anyway, what fun. Okay. No, I have a guy mowing my lawn tomorrow morning. I don't mow my lawn. I am deathly allergic to grass. But Jay has a yard that needs mowed, so any volunteers tonight? There you go. Okay, so now what I want to do, let's do this. Open up, where is it? I want to bring this over to this screen. And then I want to clean up the desk here. Bring my keyboard back. Set all this stuff down. And let's get to what's next here. I think I'm going to bring this mic back. So now we're on this mic, and let's see here. This should work. Woohoo! There it is. I guess I have to lose this mic. So I'll move it over there. So got to make an adjustment right here. You look at this full screen here. Okay, good enough. So let's talk real quick about the matrix, or it's called a select bus, on the top of the screen. And I have a little still here to throw up just to give you kind of a start here. So I'm just going to throw this on top of me right here. This is how I do that. So when I throw that slide on here, it's going to replace this smaller one to a big one. But you can see how this works. The top row is sources. So you can see you have channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the inputs. So whatever you have plugged in, that 1 through 8, that is a source that you can bring in to the bottom row. Then you have MP1, MP2, that's your 2 media slots. Then you have color 1, color 2, that's the 2 colors that you can make. Then you got the color bars, and then you got black. And then the lower row, you have your destination. So I can assign any of the buttons on the top to any of the destinations on the bottom. And that's how this works. So, and then just so everybody knows, there is one button here, this stinger button, that does not work. That is not active. Everybody thought they were going to activate this later. And if you go to the new consoles, the rack-mounted versions, they have the ability to play X amount of frames. I think it's 400 and 600 frames. And if you do the math, if you're doing like a 30-frame clip, then you can divide those 200 or 300 or 400 frames or 600 frames, whatever device you have, you can divide that up and get so many seconds of a stinger. But that never happens. So this button does not work, but all the other buttons do work. So you have your Luma, so you got your key 1. And so basically the reason I have the software open here is that here's key 1. So I have key 1 on right now. So watch, so you can see that if I go to key number 1 right here, it's assigned to MP1. So, and what that means is that it's playing this still. This is MP1. I could drag this up there and watch what happens on the screen. So whatever I drag in there is going to show up. So if I was to drag that same font to the background, so I'm going to lose the background in SuperSource. So now I have that in the that same thing in the background. Then I could choose MP2 and my logo will stay the same. So I'm going to send to Luma Key 1, which is on right now. And I'm going to, instead of having Media Player 1 assigned to it, which is right here, I'm going to actually send Media Player 2 to it. And so the logo didn't change because I dropped it in there. But if I was to put something else in there, then it covers me up. Because I literally changed what the source is for Luma Key number 1. And as you look at the software right here, I have that key on, key off, key on, key off, key on. So let's fix this mess now. Let's put my background back the way it's supposed to be. And let's change this back to Media Player 1. And now I'm back to SuperSource with my logo. And it is now in Luma Key 1. You can see it lit up because I've selected it on here. So if it's live, it goes red. If it's not live, turn this off, the air, you're going to lose my logo. You see it's not live. So if it's red, it's live. So keep that in mind. So if you're going to use this Select Bus in a live stream, you have to be aware of it's live. So now if I push this button, it doesn't make it live. I have to make it live right up here, and there's other buttons on the board to make things live or not live, but I'm just covering the Select Bus right now. So let's turn that one off, and let's turn this one on. So that is my DVE. Okay, so you can see right here, if I select my DVE 1, actually it's 2, you can see 2 is live, and the source is 6. Well, what if I want my face in it? Hit 2, and there I am. Here's my other camera. Here is 3, which is my overhead downward-facing camera. Nothing in 4 right now. There is my desktop. So I can assign whatever I want to that key. And so if I had my Skycam live, then I can bring my Skycam in there. So simply, and I want you to see this, it's on, it's off. Now obviously if you're selecting a DVE, you have to choose that. So your 2 DVEs are in your upstream key, 1 and 2 available right here, and DVE is selected. So again, just because you have a Select Bus doesn't mean that you still don't know how to turn things on and off, because they're all pretty much, most of them are going to operate right here or right here. These are your downstream keys and your upstream keys. So let's turn that off. Let's turn my logo back on. And again, logo's on. You can see it up there on the board right here. If I choose Luma Key 1, it says it's live, and I have Media Player 1 selected. So let's just go in here. I can't, because this is a Luma key, I'm going to have craziness if I select channel 2. So you can see I'm just on the bottom inside the shape of that logo. So there you go. So I can put any camera in there. Any camera that's live will go inside of that, any live deal. But in reality, it's designed to just show a transparent logo, and that's a PNG. And because I have it set to be that size, that's all you get is the size of that logo. So again, Luma key, and then next to that is key 1, and that's chroma key. So if I was doing green screen, and you can see my green screen is not live, so how would I make the green screen live? I would go up here to chroma, switch to it, and now you see I have chroma key live. Let me switch back to multi-view and go back to Luma. So because I'm not doing any keying and I don't have a green screen and all that, if I select that, it's just going to give me craziness. But again, if I wanted to go chroma key for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, I could do that just by selecting it. So chroma key right now, and so I'll show you this again. I'm going to leave it off, the air. So I've got it off. So there's chroma key, and you can see it's assigned to Media Player 1. Chroma key, Media Player 1. Watch this box right here. It just changed to Media Player 2. Now it's camera 1, input 2, my 5D Mark IV, my EOS R, Extreme Out 1. So I can go through and choose all of these different devices in chroma key, but I have to be in chroma key selection. So if I go back to Luma and I turn this on, I didn't change Luma Key 1, so my logo still pops up. I was working in chroma key, which is the second selection here. Then you have the next selection, which is PTN, and that I believe is the transitions. If I remember right, you have pattern. So there's the pattern on the screen, and you can see it's now, let me move this down. Change the size. Got Batman and Robin up there, so you can see above it. So now pattern is live, and I can select my camera and put me in there. There's my mouth. And obviously you have to make it the right size that you need to be whatever you want. So there you go. So that's the pattern, and I can change different patterns. See up here on the right hand side where my mouse is, I can go to upper left, I can go to something like that, I can go to 4 boxes like that makes a big cross. I can go to all these different patterns, but for example, I'm just keeping it right here in the middle, and I will peek through that box. So again, let's make that nice and tiny, and you can see on the matrix right here, I can select the different inputs, and it puts it inside of that box. And then that actually is my HyperDeck playing. So again, so back to channel 2, there is my mouth, and that is because I have this key set to pattern. So let's go back to Luma. Still have my logo there, it's off. So we now have key 1. You can do the same thing with key number 2, which would be this one right here. Turn that one off, turn this one on. And right now, DVE is selected under key number 2. There's key number 2. The input is my PC desktop. So there you go, right here. So if I go down here to key number 2, Luma's not on, Chroma is not on, that's not on either, so I must have a DVE on. See how it lit up? So this box that you see right there is DVE number 2. And I can send whatever I want to DVE number 2. So if it was live and I wanted to put it somewhere else on the screen, I'd have to move it manually. But if I had DVE number 2 on, or 1 on, I can move it around with these buttons right here. So put something else in it, put me in it. Camera 1, I think, timed out, so let's put camera 3 in it. Again, I can put anything that's live inside that. Again, even my intro video. So again, that matrix. So we've covered these 3 buttons. That's key number 1, Luma, Chroma, and Pattern. Key number 2, Luma, Chroma, Pattern. We've now skipped down to DV2, DV1. And we'll cover this disk button in a minute. So then you have DV1, and it's not live. So how do I get DV1 live? Okay, so we're going to turn this off, and I'm going to go back to this, go over to DVE1, and let's make it my EOS R. And it is, oops, let's change this to DV1. And we'll make this my EU5D EOS R. And there you go. So now I can move it around the screen. You see it came on the front. So you have the ability to turn this off and on when you're live without using the software. And then I can move it around the screen. It will size to that size. And then I can put both of them on as well. And they're both assigned the same source. So let me go back into one of them, and we'll assign it to my PC desktop. Is it live? Yeah, it's live. So now I have both of them on, and I can turn them both off with the button right here on the front. So DV1 has some controls right on the front, and I can even activate both of them, and you can't quite see that button because of my crop. So let me go to source box 2, box 3, and let's see, can I adjust this bottom crop? Yeah. So there you go. That's the double button, and this will pop it around. So if I turn it on again, I have the double button on. I can just put it in the top left, push this button, top right, push this button, bottom left, bottom right. And then I have these other 2 choices right here, including this. So again, I can run around the screen, but it's always going to default to these sizes. So, and this is great. So if I wanted to put something else in the background, like if I turn these other 2 boxes off. So let's turn box 2 off, or 3 off, and 2 off. Then you have, I still have 1 box on. So now you have like a mini super source using your 2 DVEs. So let's turn those boxes back on. Let's turn that key off. So again, key number 1, turn this back on. Sources, oh, what happened here? I got it off. There we go. So, sources, destinations, keys right here, key 1, key 2. You have 4 keys that are right here in the software, but you only have access on the front to do a select bus for these first 2. These last 2 you can't do, and you only have 2 DVEs, so they're pretty well assigned to these 2 boxes, and you get to those DVEs by selecting over here. So you got super source, and then here's your keys, key 1, 2, 3, and 4, transitions, and then downstream keys. And the downstream keys are in a group together. So there is downstream key 1, and then if you scroll down here, you have downstream key number 2. And again, I do have control of the DVEs, and then I have DSK1 and DSK2. So let's turn one of these on. And there you have one on. Now let's push DSK1. See how it lit up? So this is downstream key 1. I have in downstream key 1 right now my logo, but what if I wanted to put my face in it? You can see there's my body in it again, so I can assign the different sources to that as well, but I want to keep it in media player 1. So that's downstream key 1. So let's go up here to software, turn it off. My logo goes off, and let's turn downstream key number 2 on, and it's got my logo in it as well, and you can see it's signed right here, downstream key number 2. It's got this, so I could assign something else to it if I wanted to, but again, in my media player, I have these 2 items, the background for super source, which is what's behind me in the background, and then I have my logo. And so those are the 2 media players, and again, you find those media players. Oops, what am I opening? Cancel that. So, and you find the controls to turn the upstream keys here on and off, and the controls to turn the downstream keys on and off. And then once you click on them, they light up red if they're live. So if I knew this was live, then I could assign anything right in the middle of the show to it that was live right here. And again, I wouldn't, because this is set up to really display logos. And that's, you know, you could have it full screen playing your HyperDeck. So what happens if I go over here and I go into channel 7 and 8, then the logo's down on the bottom there playing my intro video. So again, downstream keys are right here. Downstream key 1, downstream key 2, and then I have DVE1, DV2, which we already talked about. And then I have dip and I have wipe. So if I went to dip on the board right here, there you go, then I could now hit transition. So let's see what I have in ready right there. So let me hit transition, and it just did a dip in and dip out, and I could change sources assigned to that dip. So let's go up here and click on dip, and then it's set to black. So if I wanted to use bars as a transition, there you go, it transitioned to the bars and back again. If I wanted to choose color 1, I'll dip through color 1, which is yellow, and you go, okay, where are these colors? Well, once again, the colors are up here in the very top in your software. So I can go up here to color generator. I've got a yellow selected for color 1 and a orange selected for color 2. So again, if I go back up here and I want to select color 2 and then hit auto transition, now it's dipped through color 2. So now let's be crazy and let's go up to wipe. So now I have wipe. So I'm going to select wipe, and if I wipe right now, hit the auto button, it wipes like that, and I can change wipes in the software. But now let's just change it to bars. And you don't really see anything when you change sources on wipe, because it's going through your 2 selections. So I have super source selected on the front of my ATEM, and I have camera 2 selected. So it's transitioning through those. But again, the matrix can be assigned. I'm not really sure what the advantage assigned to that. Let's assign a camera to wipe, and let's do a transition. And again, I'm not seeing anything happen when I do that. So, okay. So dip, wipe. The last one is logo, and this button does work. So I'm going to turn it on. And the way you find the logo is we're going to go down here to transitions, and the very bottom here is where your logo is. And so let's go ahead and load a logo. Let's load just the bars. Let's see. Let's go into Media Player 1 with that one, Media Player 2 with that one. And it's going to get weird here for a minute. We're going to select DVE right here. And now I'm going to do a transition. And you can see right now it's doing just the single bar. let me change up here in the matrix from logo. It's using input number 1. Let me choose media player. And now let me hit a transition. And now you can see it's using the logo to go from one camera to another camera. And I could transition from any 2 cameras. And if I want the nicer logo, so let's go back so you can see what I'm doing. If I want the nicer logo, I have logo selected. I'm going to go ahead and select Media Player 2. And now I'm going to hit Auto Transition. And now you have the logo button transitioning back and forth. And so let me fix my background here. And we'll move this logo up here. And I'm going to select Media Player 1 instead. So now as I make this transition, you have this logo, and I have the matrix. I can assign anything to that logo. I don't know why you'd want to, but let's just say I did want to assign black to it. There it goes, black by. Color 2 to it. There it goes, color 2 is assigned to it. Color 1. Color 1's assigned to it. So you don't have to make one of those. You can usually hide your transition just using colors. And I could use a camera too. So I could put camera 2 in it. And there's my face going by. All because I'm assigning it in the matrix on the very front, black, color bars, color 1, color 2, MP player 1, 2. So if I have a graphic that I want to display loaded into the media player, which I do right here in Media Player 1, if I select Media Player 1, so logo is the destination, and Media Player 1 is the source. Now if I hit transition, auto button, it goes by. So where are those settings for this cool little trick? If you go up here to logo, you can change the direction. So it loops back and forth. I can just have it go across the screen. I can have it go backwards, forwards. I can change the source right here. And as you watch on the matrix, if I change a source, watch this box. See, it changes this, but I have key enabled. So if I turn the key off, now it's only using one source. And now if I go by with my face, it goes by like that. Because when I keyed it, it keys it, enable key, right there. It makes it keyed to the size of the bar. So if you have the key turned on, then you can just simply select a color and do a logo across the screen. So the logo button works, stinger button doesn't work, but that's all of the buttons all the way through. We did it before the clock turned 5:30. So what are your thoughts on that little tour? Did I answer your questions about that? Again, to get this to work, to make this clear, you have to be in DVE. So that logo works under the DVE selection, wipe. The wipe button works under wipe. And then here's all the different wipes you have up here in the software. So DVE, you can go up here and select it. You can select wipe here. I can select dip here. And I can change the colors in the dip section right there. And I can go to mix right here, all under the transition bar. And I can also change from DVE right here. I can change the wipe right here. And if I hit the transition, it's going to be a wipe now. If I click on DVE, it's whatever's programmed in the DVE. It's the yellow bar now. If I do a dip, it's whatever I have programmed in the dip. Or if I do a mix, it's whatever I have programmed, which is a transition. And I can change the timing of that transition right down here on the software. If I want that to be a longer transition, I could change this to 0.30. And now if I hit the transition, it's a little slower for the rest of the night. So let me know if that taught you anything about this. Let me go in here and fix my studio, turn palettes off. Let's see, I need color generator off. Upstream key, I need to be assigned to media player 1. And then Luma, and let's drop my logo back in. There you go. So back to normal. Now I could have done all of that if it was messed up like this. I could have just pushed my me and a logo button, and it is programmed as a macro to put everything back. So I programmed it to drop that in media player 1, and I programmed the media player 1 to be set to Luma, and it to be set to media player 1, and I'll either have pre-multiplied on or off depending on what graphic, and this particular graphic is pre-multiplied on. I believe, let's just double check. Media player 1, it's set to pre-multiplied off. And here's that screen. No, this is what I want up here. So media player 1, pre-multiplied is off, and I'm on Luma right there. And that's what me and a logo is set for in the macro. So awesome. Let's get back into the chat. Let's see if this works. Let's turn chat back on the air, and let's fix things here. And that off, turn chat back on. And I'm glad that that makes sense. Good to have you, Lieutenant A.K. Allen. And that is what the Select Bus is for. So if you're in a live event, obviously this is just giving you the ability to make some basic changes. So let's say you had 2 guests and you needed to go from logo 1 in media player 1 to logo 2, media player 2, and you just needed to change names. You could do it right on the front of the Select Bus, and that would be for your Luma key. Let's say you were going to have 2 guests in a live event and you had your DVE, both DVEs on, and you wanted to switch those on and off. You could do that from the front of the ATEM Mini. You could select what video you want coming into those 2 DVE boxes. And again, all of that can be controlled from the front of your ATEM Mini device. But remember, you can't change what's in those different boxes. So if you don't have your media player 1 loaded, if you don't have your media player 2 loaded, how are you going to use those things to advantages? So I think with some macros designed and the Select Bus, you have lots of control in a live event. I would always do a live with my laptop ready to go. So good to have you, David. We put rack mounts on the NSB Stagebox tonight. Took the handles off and put the rack mounts on, and that whole kit, as well as unboxed a FURMAN power conditioner with 8 outlets on the back, 1 outlet on the front, I believe, and we just covered the Select Bus on the top of the Extreme ISO, and the Extreme SDI. So hopefully everybody now knows how to use it and knows that the one button that says Stinger does not work, but all the other buttons work. It's just learning how to use those buttons. And I don't ever use them. I just studied it a number of times, refreshed my brain today playing with all the buttons. So you do have to do some things inside the control software to really take advantage of that Select Bus. So keep that in mind. It will speed some things up. So let's say you're having guest 1, guest 2, guest 3, guest 4, and you had your DVE on. So let's just play around with this. So DVE 1, so let's say that I had a guest coming in a laptop, and I wanted to just switch guests. Then I could just, so this is DVE 1. So if I click on the board, it's going to light up red, which it did, and then I could switch to another guest on another PC. So I could just switch that right in the middle of a live event. So again, pretty cool. And remember, DV1, you can turn on right from the front of your ATEM. So there it is on, and I have 2 people selected right now. So I could change what's in DV2. So let's put my overhead camera there. So let's just pretend this was a live event. I can be switching this from the matrix. So there's DVE2. I can put whatever I want in there, switching through these different inputs. Let's go back to my camera. My EOS R timed out. HyperDeck's coming on. Let's turn that back on. So let's go to DVE number 1 and let's put camera 1 in it. Right there, and camera 2, and then you'd have to choose a background. Instead of me being on the air, you would want to choose that background right there. And so I could switch these live guests because I'm using 2 DVEs. So I could have 2 cameras and I could switch back and forth. So let's say you had a big screen projecting to a big screen and you had 2 guests on the platform. You had a camera on one of them, a camera on the other one. You could use your 2 DVEs just to do something like this. So on the big screen, you had both of them blown up, and you could have them in chairs facing each other. You would want to rotate these 2 DVEs to do that. But again, that's just one way that you can do this craziness. So back to camera 2, add a logo. So there you go. So hopefully that gets you guys hooked up with the matrix. Okay, so that's so cool, but there are so many clicks involved to do this in a pinch. Can you have some sort of external keyboard or something that has a macro that does all the wipes? Yeah, so what you could do is that you could use Companion and a Stream Deck, and you can program pretty much anything that you can do inside the control software. You can control in a Companion button, and not just Companion, you could use to turn on, change the lighting and all that stuff. So that's what most people will do. They're probably not going to use the Select Bus, David. They're going to actually do Companion buttons, and we will make some Companion buttons in a live stream coming up pretty soon. So, because that's cool. The cool thing about Companion buttons in the Stream Deck is it's not limited to just one device. So I could fire up a HyperDeck, I could fire up my lights. If there's something that can be programmed to be run from a Stream Deck, then you can create a single button that turns everything on the way you want. And so that's probably how I would do a venue. So when I do get Studio B done, when I actually work on it and get that done, then I will have it set up to do a lot of things like that. So if I do have someone coming in to do a podcast, I'll have the set up all the time behind me. They can sit down and I will have most of the things programmed using the Stream Deck. That's why Aaron Parecki and a lot of people have bought devices that can be programmed to run through MIDI or however they want to do it, and they can program buttons to change microphones and all that stuff. I do not think I can automate my PreSonus 32SC, so I don't think that's ever going to be an option for me. So again, thank you for that comment. I missed the ATEM training, so cool. There you go, Hank. You are welcome. Yeah, so I would, if you want a free consult, I do that if you haven't used that already. And again, you really have to kind of know your way around the control software, and you have to know your way around the DVEs. So again, because you have 4 keys and you only have 2 DVEs, key 1 and key 2 is pretty much always where you're going to go to your DVE. It's the front of the ATEM Extreme panel is connected to DVE 1, but there's one button that turns on DVE 2. So if you have one on, you go to that double, it will turn it on. So if I turn on that DVE right now, it's flashing because I have to switch to it in the software. So I go into key number 1. Let's show this so you guys can see it, laptop. So I go in here and I got to go from Luma to DVE, and then the box comes on. Then if I push this other button, let's see, can I lower this box? Let's just bring it down. And if I switch to camera 2, let's see, this camera, is it live? Camera 3 up here, sorry. So that button is on. I have one box on, and I can move it around the screen by pushing these buttons. But if I turn this on, it centers them and brings the other DVE on as default. So again, an interesting little feature. I can turn it off as well, and it goes away. And obviously I'll switch back to camera 2 and turn my my font on right there. So when you got to be in DVE in the software again, guys, and if you don't know where that is, that's found right here. So key number 1, I got to switch to DVE, and it's a folder. So chroma key, pattern, and DVE, and they all have sources. So I'm in Luma, and that's how I display my logo on the screen. And it's assigned to Media Player 1, and in Media Player 1 is my logo. My background for Super Source is right here. And if I go up to Super Source, I can select my background to Media Player 1, or I could go to Media Player 2. And if I select Media Player 2 and change it to EOS R, and then go back to Super Source, then I got me in the background. So I don't want me in the background. So let me go back here and fix it. So I'm going to put it back on Media Player 1 or 2. And then if I go back to Super Source by hitting transition, then I have my background in the back again. And so there's the keyboard, here's the software. So this matrix really is awesome. They call it the Select Bus, and that's what we called it tonight. So I'm not sure, David, that I'm the ATEM Mini guru, but I have tried to teach people how to use this device, because I think the more training that's available on YouTube, the better off it is. Now, you're going to have to, if you watch this, you're going to have to go find out where my training is. I probably will go ahead and put some markers on this video when we get done tonight. So that's it. That's all I had. If you have any last minute comments, again, I'm glad that those of you that were coming against fires in your area, in your neighborhood, were perfectly safe and your property wasn't burnt up. Again, I have a friend that runs a camp north of me in Washington, up a little bit south of Spokane, between where I live and Spokane, Washington, and they had a bunch of cabins burnt down. There was another fire earlier this week. I'm not sure what damage it did, but it was in that same vicinity. So lots of people, including Maui and different places like that around the United States and around the world, has been impacted by floods and hurricanes and fires. And it's a good thing that you guys were safe. Hopefully everybody that tunes in and everybody that you know is safe. So thank you, Freddie. I appreciate that. Please hit the like button, and I would appreciate that. Please hit share, and if you watch the video back or you use any of the links below, it will really help support the channel. Again, you pay the same when you use those affiliate links from Amazon, but I do get some residual back. So if these videos help you, put it in the comments. If there's anything else that you would like me to cover on the ATEM Extreme ISOs or even the ATEM Mini Pro, please let me know. And we'll do that next week. My goal is to take you into the garage, have the sound system set up. I did a bunch of cleaning there. We'll pull some of my fabric back down in the studio, maybe bring green down and do some crazy chroma key, and we'll see. Maybe we'll do a black background, a gray background, a white background, and a chroma background, all in the garage next week. So we'll start right here in the main studio, and then we'll pop in to the garage, and I will show you the sound system all set up. 3 monitors, 2 speakers, and we'll just play around with it, play some music that I can play legally, my background track, and I'll show you guys some things that I've learned on the new StudioLive 32SC. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you have any final comments, let's see, chat on the air. Freddie says, yeah, we might bring some rats out. You never know. So stay tuned for next week. Thank you. I appreciate that. So you guys have a great evening. Sounds like, Joe, you need to mow your lawn. So hopefully you still have some time for that. You guys that tune in from all over the country, I appreciate it so much. And if you're watching this later, thank you for subscribing to the channel. We will see you next Tuesday at 4 p.m. live right here. And we have some fun things planned, and who knows, something else might show up from Amazon. We might even be putting that 16.8 NSB Stagebox inside a box. So who knows? And the power supply, we might put that together next week in the garage. So until then, I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios, and I will see you each in the next video. What mic do I have on? Both of them. That's not good. Let's turn that off. Peace out.